From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by
Vitamin Energy.
The vitamins.
The energy.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! It's Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. Coming up on today's show, more scar tissue on the psyche of Seminole baseball as the Noles miss out on Omaha. We look back on supers and ahead to brighter days. And the House settlement has passed. May the hammer of justice and rules enforcement break the will of the pay-for-play bandits. Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Sip the juice, everybody. Shake it and take it. One little bottle, not even 2 whole fluid ounces, gives you 7 hours of energy because there's 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine. Shout out to our guy, Jamie Arnold, who said that jet lag, Corey Clark, was a real thing. That's why he came out the gate slow on Saturday, but said he had some caffeine. Next time, Jamie, we need you to actually say you had vitamin energy, not just caffeine, right? I mean, like, if I tell you, I'm just drinking caffeine, whatever, but it's the vitamin energy that helps you out. We need to specifically say that. I don't have any proof that Jamie had vitamin energy, but I'm sure if he knew about it, he would have taken it, and it would have gotten out the gates even stronger. You can get stronger with a shot of vitamin energy. Give it a try. VitaminEnergy.com. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Come check us out, everybody. It's now officially football season, I guess, Corey Clark.
Yeah.
There's people out there, I think, there were some sickos. I think they were rooting for Florida State to lose, so we would have to speak about football now. You got your wish, everybody. You got your wish. How was your weekend, Corey Clark?
It was good. It was actually it was good. It was a good time. We'll talk about Corner Pocket later, but went up there on Saturday night and watched that exciting game. Wasn't up there Friday night, which is probably why they lost, but I was up there Saturday night and watched that game, and it was a really exciting win. Everybody was happy. Tried to repeat everything on Sunday. Went back up there Sunday night to try to watch it, thinking you can't screw with what worked on Saturday, and apparently you could because same bar, same TVs on, and a completely different result. So, but yeah, overall, good weekend.
Yeah. All right, so Florida State baseball falls to 8-seeded Oregon State in the Corvallis Super Regional. They lost last night, or I guess really early this morning. We were recording this. Just shy of 1 a.m. We're kicking this bad boy off. 14-10 to the Beavers. Friday was just an absolute horror show. Joey Vellini went out there and kind of told all of us, hey, this is why I was the number 2 guy in the rotation this whole season. I'm still here. Spun an absolute gem for the Noles. They had a 4-1 lead with 2 outs in the 9th inning, Corey.
Yeah.
And somehow,
it was a 4-2 lead. 4-2 it was 4-1 with 2 outs in the 9th. You're right. Yep.
And lost that game. Yeah, they lost that game 5-4 in 10 innings. Absolute gut punch loss. Then they come out on Saturday. Jamie, doesn't look great in the first inning. 30 pitches, maybe more than 30 pitches.
29 pitches, yeah.
Just shy of it, but ends up turning it on, has that little bit of caffeine. They get enough offense. Gage Harrelson with a clutch RBI. Jackson West pushes a run across. I think Max Williams had one of the other RBIs in that game. And then you're like, all right, man, they're going to go into Sunday, winner take all. Wes Mendez has looked like the second best starting arm they've had here in the last month of the season. They got the Sunday Golds on. Max Williams has a 2-run homer in the first inning, and you're flying high, and you're thinking about Omaha. And then Wes Mendez couldn't even make it through the first inning. Oregon State bats through the lineup, hangs 7 runs on you. Yet it was only a 14-10 loss, but that game got away really quickly in the first inning.
Yeah, look, you're not going to win a game typically against a really good team, and Oregon State is really good when your starting pitcher can't make it out of the first inning. And this is not one of those – sometimes teams in Game 3 of a Super Regional, like Oregon State, starts a guy and only expects to get 2 or 3 innings out of him. With Wes Mendez, he's a real number 3 starter. He was, like you just said, he was really your number 2 starter for the last, 6 weeks of the season. And it had been pitching really well the last month to 5 weeks, 6 weeks, and just completely. I don't know. He's throwing 93. It wasn't like he was throwing 88. They tattooed him. They just crushed him. I don't know if he tipped pitches. I don't know if they just after seeing two straight lefties like Arnold and Bellini, you're like, okay, we've seen enough lefties now. We've got this dialed in. I don't know if it was just making the switch and with the way they did with the lineup, but he got tattooed. And that's something that, you hear Link talk about Mendez as if he's got a chance to be a first-round pick this time next year. Well, he's got a lot of, this is going to be an offseason that will probably make or break his baseball career. Because it's one thing to not have a good start in your final start of a season. It's another thing to get completely shelled on national television with your team having a chance to go to Omaha and not even making out of the first inning. Like having the worst start maybe of any starter in the Super Regionals. In fact, I can't imagine there was another pitcher in the Super Regionals that had a worse start than that. Maybe in the entire postseason. I mean, that was an embarrassing – and I'm not trying to kill the kid. I'm just saying from his own psyche. That must have been as embarrassing an outing as he could have possibly dreamed of having. Giving up a 3-run, giving up, 5 hits in that inning, including a homer to a kid that hadn't started a game in 2 months. The number 9 hitter. Yeah. After giving up the 3-run homer. So, yeah, look, I thought the offense really played well that game. I did not like what the offense did much at all the first 2 games. Ironically, they had their best game when it kind of mattered least. Give me 10 runs in game 1, boys. You don't even get to game 3. But it didn't work out that way. I mean, you're facing obviously not their best pitchers on Sunday. And Mendez, look, when you score 10 runs and you have a real starting pitcher on the mound that you did, that should be enough. And it just wasn't. But honestly, it wasn't the Sunday game that kept you from Omaha. It was the Friday game that kept you from Omaha. 10 runs. I know it's disappointing. If Mendez even just gives you a typical start that he gave you this year, you're winning that game, or at least you're going into the 9th inning with the lead. Instead, he didn't, but that Friday game was the reason they're not in Omaha.
17 hits, 10 runs, and they still left 10 on base.
Yeah, well, and think about Lodis comes up with the bases loaded twice, and he just had a bad postseason, guys. I think it was 5 out of 23. Or 5 out of 24. He just wasn't. He didn't have an extra base hit in whatever that is, 6 games, which is by far the longest streak he had. But he comes up with the bases loaded when it's still, I don't know what it is, 14-4, 14-5, I don't remember, 13-4, and he just misses one. He flies out to the wall with the bases loaded to end the inning, and he got under it. And it's like, man, if you could have just squared that up a little more, like they all did with their home runs, and some of those weren't crushed. But he just got under it, and that was kind of par for the course for him for the postseason.
The one thing, though, is he was always steady with the glove. Let's go back to that first inning real quick, Corey. Do you think, I don't know, if they would have positioned him better? I mean, was he in the right alignment for that play to where they had a chance at a inning-ending 6-4-3 double play to get out of that first inning, but it only becomes a 6-4 force out, and then Oregon State really goes on their onslaught.
Yeah, but that's a really good play by him, and I want to point that out. His glove never slumped. He was great all year with the glove. Look, man, you're not the number 9 overall seed without Alex Lodis. We all understand that. Absolutely. He had a terrific season, seemingly almost out of nowhere. Just a great, great regular season, not a great postseason, clearly. But, yeah, his glove never slumped or waned in any way. But I assume, Aslan, that they know they position through analytics and where these guys have hit all their ground balls. So I assume that kid that hit that ground ball, when he hits it, he usually hits it more to third base.
Oh, yeah, I'm not blaming him. I just wonder.
I'm saying, I don't know if that's bad positioning or him just hitting against a trend.
Right.
Sometimes that happens. But, yeah, that was that would have been a nice break. And a lot of this is breaks, that it just is, man. You just, Miles Bailey hits a ball off the wall. Carnes, can we go back? Let me go back to the Friday game, because if we're going to talk about this team not being in Omaha, and it is disappointing, Carnes comes so close in the second inning, I think, to hitting a 3-run homer. By the way, Hunter Carnes looked great.
Yes, sir.
That was the best 2-game stretch I think he had offensively all year. That was very, very impressive. Mm-hmm. Had 5 hits in 2 games, and another couple that could have been hits. Just really hit the ball well.
Yeah, driving.
That's a good piece to build around. Him and Bailey is just a flipping superstar, man. But that game in the second inning, and I texted you and Ira about this the next game, and I tweeted about it because I was still kind of angry about it. It's first and second, 2 outs. Carnes is up. He hits a ball to right center. He crushes it, and it hits off the top of the wall. It's probably 3 feet, 2 feet from being a 3-run homer. Instead, it's only 1 run. Like, literally, because Hankerson gets thrown out at the plate, and we'll get to that in a second. But if that ball just goes 2 more feet, you score 3 runs that inning, and I'm just assuming that instead of 4 runs, you have 6 runs, and you end up winning the game 6-3 or 6-4, whatever it ends up being. You know what I mean? Like, that's how close, when you're playing another good team, and that's just college baseball, that's baseball in general, the margins between wins and losses can sometimes come down to that. Just 2 feet. Just 2 feet. Or, like you said, if Alex Lodis is positioned 2 feet to his left, that's probably an easy double play ball. Maybe Mendez gets out of that jam, breathes, and finds himself. Maybe not, but it certainly didn't help when you can't turn that double play. Then they scored 6 runs with 2 outs. If you get out of that with no run scoring, maybe you win the game. Like it can be that simple sometimes, man, or not that simple, but it can be that close. But let's get back to that Friday game because I think Link is a very good coach. There's no doubting that. I mean, they finished 9th in the country after finishing, let's say, 3rd in the country. They've had 2 back-to-back top 10 finishes. They were 1 win away from Omaha after being in Omaha, 42 wins this year, whatever it was. There is never a reason. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, James Hankerson is on first base. I can't remember who's on second. Carnes hits the ball to the wall with 2 outs. And Hankerson thinks the ball is a home run, so he jogs to second.
Farreau was ahead of Hankerson on the base.
But he's going to score either way.
Yeah.
And I can promise you this, Farreau's running harder than Hankerson is. And Farreau knows, even if it hits the wall, Farreau knows he's scoring easily. But anyway, Hankerson's jogging to second because he thinks it's a home run. When it hits the wall, that's when he decides to start running. He's unbelievably waved home, which made no sense because he was out by 12 feet. But it wouldn't have even been a play at the plate if Hankerson is running when the ball is hit. So there is bad luck and there's bad baseball. That's bad baseball. And that's the same stuff that happened in Omaha last year way too often with Lynx baseball teams when it comes to base running. They did goofy stuff in Omaha, and that's just, you're asking to get beat when you don't respect the game like that. And I'm not saying Hankerson was dumb. It wasn't like hitting a ball that you think is a home run, and then you just stare at it and it hits off the wall like my son did and got thrown out at second. I'm not saying that. It's like you've never been in that park. You don't know off the sound of a bat if something's a home run. Respect the game and just run. Run hard. Your coach will tell you if it's a home run. You look at your third base coach. He'll do the signal with his hands. Then you can slow up and jog home. But in the meantime, bust your ass to second base. And then to third base, and then home. Now, look, man, if he's busting his rump as soon as the ball is hit, he's not a fast kid, but he's fast enough that he's scoring on that play. So here you go, Aslan. So instead of the inning being over with just 1 run scoring, it's now a runner on second. You're up 2-0. The next hitter is Harrelson, who when he came up the next inning gets a base hit. Now it's 3-0. Then Lodis gets another hit. Now it's 4-0. That bad base running blunder cost you at least 1 run and maybe 2 or 3 runs. And then you're going to sit here and just, woe is me because the bullpen melted down in the ninth. It's like, well, the bullpen wouldn't have had as slim a margin if you would have played the game the right way in the second inning. And that's what I want to see when it comes to Florida State baseball. And Link Jarrett, who I think his team does play the right way. They're very good fundamentally, typically. I don't think they made an error. All super regional, maybe they made 1. But, man, run the bases the right way and don't I mean, that's just inexcusable to say after the game he thought it was a home run. I don't care if he thinks it's a home run. You run until they tell you it's a home run. In the super regionals I'm talking about. You're not playing Stetson in April. This is the super regional against a 3-time national champion. Bust your butt to second base, man. Go try to score on that. If it had gone out, Aslan, it was going to go out by 3 feet. This wasn't a Miles Bailey shot to the moon. So that just still irks me because when you do think you're cursed, when you do think you have so many bad breaks happening in the postseason, well, don't give the baseball gods a chance to torment you like that. Play the game the right way every game and then take your chances. And if you still are cursed, then you're still cursed. But play it the right way. And now I'm done.
And so
with
is Florida
Friday
State
anyway.
season. Yeah. I mean, I guess, all right, so let's go to Saturday then. Listen.
Well, we could go to Joe Charles, too. And Charles was the ninth inning melted down on him. I get it. But I'm just still so mad. Like, you might have had a 6-1 lead in the ninth inning if you just run the bases correctly. And it's not like I'm asking you to do something miraculous. Just run hard.
I know.
That's
man,
all you got to do.
But Joe
just run
Charles
hard.
didn't really light the world on fire on Sunday either to make you think that he would have been able to get out of any kind of situation he found himself in on Friday. But I don't disagree with you. Like, obviously, yes, they could have been further ahead, but who knows how the game plays out. If they are further ahead, maybe they're lax in some other aspects of the game, or Oregon State feels more urgency. But to find yourself up 4-1 in the ninth inning with 2 outs
and 1 on.
That's
And I will say it's
awful.
awful, but I will say this. Joe Charles has been their best reliever for most of the season, certainly at the tail end. He was very good against Mississippi State. He was great in the 8th inning. He went through their big hitters, like he just carved them up. He looked great. What you can't do, man, and it might haunt him and Link for a good long while, is you have a kid come up that's had 19 at-bats all year, and you walk him on 5 pitches with 2 outs and 1 on. He's had 19 at-bats all year. He's hitting .211, 0 home runs. And if he hits one to the moon, he hits one to the moon. You're still up a run. You cannot, in that circumstance, walk someone.
Macias wasn't walked. He was the pinch hitter, right?
The kid before him was walked. Bryce Hubbard.
You're right. Yeah.
From Norcross, Georgia.
Oh.
Represent. Stand up, Norcross, Georgia. He's walked.
Yes,
and
correct.
Then the next kid who's hitting 154, he
pinch
rips
hitter.
a base hit.
He's a pinch hitter.
They're both pinch hitters.
Right.
So they bring up 2 lefty pinch hitters. One walks on 5 pitches, who's hitting, again, .211 in 19 at-bats. The other kid rips a single rips a single with
2 outs. Nobody scores, loads the bases.
And then you uncork a wild pitch, which is absolutely a wild pitch. Going to still need Hunter Carnes to make a better effort. Like, that's a big wild pitch. Because look, if he blocks that ball, you win the game. If he blocks that ball, you win the game. Because that single to left field probably still scores 2, but then it's 4-3 instead of 4-4. The next kid flies out to the track, game over. You didn't block, and I shouldn't say who knows how that last at bat would have gone. But they don't tie the game on that single by their number 9 hitter. That just makes it 4-3. You put the tying run in scoring position because you didn't move your body in front of the ball to block it. You tried to kind of backhand it. Now, Joe Charles has a violent slider. It's really hard to get in front of. Carnes is a freshman catcher. I don't know if Jackson West blocks it either, but Cal Raleigh would have. I mean, this 2025 Cal Raleigh. But yeah, so.
Would Colton Vincent have?
It's a good question. Or Eddie, what was that kid's name?
Danny Delacaiye?
Danny Delacaiye? He might have. All the great FSU catchers from years past. But it's those little things, man. Those little things are the reason you lose tight games, not just because you're cursed. So you have talent. You have a good coach. I just, those things that Doug Minkiewicz actually responded to one of my tweets about that play by Hankerson. And I can't remember exactly how he put it, but like in the biggest moments, your bad habits come to the surface quicker. It's something like that. Yeah. It's something he said when I tweeted about Hankerson on Saturday morning. It is the truth. Like, Carnes hasn't been great at blocking balls all year. That's a spot you've got to block it. He didn't. Gets the tying run in scoring position, and a bad pitch with 2 strikes ties the game. Otherwise, you still have the lead even after that hit. But in reality, man, the problem for Friday was, who else were you going to go to?
Peyton Prescott?
Yeah, in hindsight, sure, but it's not like you would have been all excited about Peyton Prescott coming into the game on Friday, having seen what he's been for most of the year. You know what I mean? By the way, let's hope he's okay.
Yeah.
That was not good. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he grabbed an arm.
I never saw him touch anything. He just grimaced.
Didn't either, but he grimaced after a pitch in I think it was the 8th inning, 7th inning, maybe.
8th.
Where he had 2 outs, nobody on, and then after one pitch, he just walked off the field. They came and got him and walked off the field. He clearly injured himself. Yeah. That kid is a sophomore. He would absolutely be a part of your plans for next year if he's 100%. But we don't know that. It's pitchers, man, especially pitchers that throw 100, which he did on Saturday, which was crazy. Good for him. That you hope he's okay and ready to go for next year, but you always are worried when a hard throwing pitcher just walks off the mound like that. But yeah, at the time, your best bet is Charles, especially against a right-handed hitter. He made them all look foolish. He had just struck out a right-handed hitter that inning. And then and the kid looked horrible on the first 2 swings. And then he throws the slider again, because why would you throw your 95 fastball? And he hangs it, and the kid bangs it in the left field, and that was the wrap. But if you block the ball and don't have the wild pitch, you might still win the game. Just like if you run hard on a ball off the wall from first base with 2 outs, I want to make that perfectly clear. Anybody that's played baseball or watched baseball know as soon as the crack of the bat with 2 outs, you are running and running hard. You are not jogging to second because you think it's a home run, man. It is the second inning against a really good team, and it's an opposite field hit. You don't know that it's going to – this, again, it wasn't Miles Bailey or Max Williams hitting 450 feet. This was not a no-doubter. Please run and go score and take your chances that you'll win the game.
It's so tough to talk about this team because, I mean, these are all fair things that you're pointing out. These are fair criticisms. These are real facts that have happened in the game. But I do feel like we have such a narrow focus because we just watch Florida State baseball that we forget things, or we don't see maybe as many things as Tennessee sends their ace out on Sunday to help save their season. He gets rocked. I don't even think makes it through 4 innings.
That's defending national champion Tennessee. But I understand your point. Go ahead.
Fair. They loaded the bases. They hit into a double play. Miami was down by 1 run, I think. I think
it was tied.
It was tied. Yeah, Miami.
It was 2-2, right, with the bases loaded.
Yeah, they had bases loaded, couldn't push a guy across. They left 8 guys stranded in their loss, too. So these teams that lose.
But isn't that to me is baseball. That stuff happens. Florida State got out of some jams in the second game. That does happen. It's when you're not playing it the right way. And I'm not even saying like the wild pitch. Like, yes, you want him to block it. It's not like he didn't try to block it. He's just not good at that yet.
I get your point, though. It's Florida State. You have no business in the postseason to take anything for granted. I absolutely get that.
That's all I mean. You're Florida State. Please play the game the right way. Run the bases hard every time you play in the postseason and just take your chances. That's all I mean.
Jamie Arnold went out on his shield. Fantastic. Awesome. I didn't think he was going to have it in him to go out there and really battle. Didn't look like he was going to in the first inning, but ends up going at 6 innings or 5?
6 2/3.
Incredible.
Especially after a 30-pitch first inning.
Yeah. So to see him go out there and do what he did on Saturday as your ace, and really gave you hope for what Sunday possibly could be and what the season could possibly be, but it did not work out that way. I don't know if there's any other things you want to touch on from Sunday's game or Saturday's game, but spinning it forward, there's a lot to feel good about this team moving forward. This program, obviously, I still would give Link Jarrett a lifetime contract. I'm crazy, whatever. But when you think about Carnes, Bailey, Fisher, Chase Williams, for as crazy and erratic as he might look at the plate, he just gets things done. He really does.
That in the plate, like on that game he played in left field on Friday, I've never seen anything like it. He looked like me on ice skates, like me trying to speed skate with Bonnie Blair or Eric Hayden, or one of our great Olympic medalists from years past. Are we still good at speed skating? U.S.
I can't recall.
Eric Hayden's out there winning 5 gold medals in 1980. And I don't know. And Bonnie Blair was really good. I don't know if I can name it Apollo Ono. That's it. Those are our guys.
That's better than. I
guess I'm a speed skating aficionado. Who knew? I got all this. Dan Jansen, you remember him? His sister had died of cancer, and he won one in like the '92 Olympics. So yeah, it's all coming back to me. But he's got to settle down a little bit. I was thinking of him. Jazz Chisholm was mic'd up on Sunday Night Baseball. It's funny. You know
why
how they
compared him to Jazz Chisholm, Corey?
Well, you'll hear in a second. It's not why you think, Aslan. Don't be that guy. But he was mic'd up, and they had a quote of him, like when he was a kid, he did everything 100%. He ran 100%, he swung 100%, he threw 100%, he did everything 100%. And then he's realized 70% is usually good enough. And when Carl Ravitch asked him about this is during the inning. Like, he's playing the game. He's mic'd up during the inning. He's like, what I mean by that is you don't have to go full bore all the time. You don't have to take 100% wild swings, because those end up being bad swings. You end up getting out of control. If you stay in control and breathe, you can end up doing everything you need to do. And that's why I relate it to Chase Williams, because in the outfield, he goes 100. I mean, he goes 100 miles an hour at everything. But I think there's a chance that game he had on Sunday night, even at a loss, he had 3 hits and hit another home run. That could really unleash something in him, because I think he has a chance to be a All-ACC player next year. He's probably going to be your number 1 or number 2 hitter. I assume Harrelson's coming back. I don't know if he's draftable. He's a junior. He might get drafted, but he might come back. I don't know what his MLB prospects are, because just the lack of power for a corner outfielder. That's all I mean by that. But he's a good player and had a good game on Sunday.
Yep.
But he is a guy that might, with the full season
and healthy and being able to hit on both sides of the plate.
Yeah,
right?
Getting to hit right-handed against left-handed pitching. He might be a guy that steals 50 bases. He might be the kid from Louisville this past year. I mean, he might be an all ACC candidate, and I just think if he calms down a little bit, he will be so much better. And it makes him who he is on the bases. I get it, but just a little bit calmer. Don't overrun balls in the outfield, sliding past them, kicking them away. Don't swing so hard that you're almost in the dugout on your follow-through. Just control it just a little bit, and he could be a really special player. Not Miles Bailey special, heaven knows, but really special. But, yeah, spin it forward a little bit, because I do think there's a lot to like about the core of this team coming back.
Well, I mean, as we said, Hunter Carnes, Miles Bailey is incredible. Could not imagine that. That's almost more of a shocking development than Lodis to me, just the way that he played the last
Unbelievable.
Month. Incredible. So you got Carnes, you have Bailey, you have Chase Williams. Cal Fisher probably moves to shortstop. Cal didn't have a great Sunday.
I'm not sure on that, by the way, but I'm not sure on that, but he definitely will be a part of the baseball team.
It's part of your infield.
Yes, correct.
Another year to get better at the plate. I think Brody DeLamielleure is a good bat. I mean, I know he didn't really show out much, but as a true freshman, if he stays with the program, stays with Link, that's another guy that you kind of feel pretty good about. I don't know if Jackson West stays. He had some pretty good at-bats, so there are pieces to like, but then you think about you're losing Jamie Arnold.
Yeah.
I think Vellini sticks around. Mendez sticks around. We'll see if Prescott's going to be healthy enough. Joe Charles will be gone. He's going to graduate. He's used up all his eligibility.
Right now, if they had to start a season in 2 weeks with the guys that we think will be part of the roster, you would say the starting rotation, I think, would be Vellini, Mendez, and maybe John Abraham.
Yeah.
Because John Abraham's only a sophomore, I think, so he could be back. But the portal is a real thing, Aslan.
Oh, for sure.
And they are going to – look, here's the main thing. The reason – to me, I can talk about Hankerson all I want, and by the way, Hankerson is a bat too now. I think Hankerson has a chance if he played every day. I don't know what position that is, but if he batted every day as like the DH maybe, I think he's a guy that's a 12 to 15 home run guy. He's a pretty good contact guy. He's a really, really strong. I think there's a chance he could be something for real. He has to get a lot of playing time, like get more and more comfortable, but I think he has a chance. But yeah, the reason they're not in Omaha is because Joe Charles got you out of the 7th inning and was awesome in the 8th inning. First sign of trouble in the 9th inning. If you have somebody else you trust that you can go to, especially against those lefties, the game is over. But you didn't. And that was a problem all season long. And it reared its head in the worst moment. Like, still, you're 1 strike away with Joe Charles, but like, let's play it out, man. Like, yes, they could win in Omaha, but they could have gotten, it was
The
going to be
bracket
an easier
was beautiful,
draw.
man.
The bracket was set up great. You're probably still going to have to beat either Arkansas or LSU 2 out of 3 in the championship series. Do you feel like they had the guns to do that? Now, baseball is a goofy game and anything can happen. But I think they would be prohibitive underdogs because their bullpen just didn't have enough quality depth. And they've got to get they
knew that though. I mean,
they did know that.
To criticize Link a little bit, right? I mean, they knew that coming out of last season,
and they didn't make the necessary adjustments. Yeah. I think they thought Holtz was going to be a real part of the bullpen, and he wasn't. He wasn't good at the beginning, and then got hurt. Mason Martinez pitched well at the beginning, then got hurt, and then wasn't good when he came back. Hudson Rowan. Could never find it. Is it Chris Kinnear?
Chris Kinnear, yeah.
Up and down. Had a nice game on Sunday when they were down by 10 runs. He did give up a home run, but he pitched well for him.
And Martinez got you a valuable out on Saturday.
That was a big out, but then he walks the next guy. But that was a valuable out. Abraham they thought would be better. Frankly, Joe Charles they thought would be better. Now, he was really good at the end, but you had all these arms that you really believed in, and it just didn't. It didn't manifest itself where you couldn't trust anyone. Other than Joe Charles, there was nobody you would put in the ninth inning of a 3-run game. And then on Saturday, it was almost like, well, let's give him Prescott. And Prescott, that's what's such a bummer about if he's hurt, is because he was really good in the did he pitch against Mississippi State? He pitched against Bethune-Cookman. And was throwing 99 and didn't give up a run in like 2 innings or whatever it was when that game was still very much in doubt. And then he was awesome against Oregon State. Awesome. There are 5,000 Oregon State baseball fans that are like, that Hall had to be saying after Saturday, thank God they didn't have that Prescott kid pitch Friday or this series would be over.
Somebody tweeted, they're like, how did that guy that came on for the save for Florida State have a 6 ERA?
Right. No, not knowing at the time that his ERA was almost 6. But that's crazy. Like that doesn't make sense to have that kind of stuff and have an ERA of 6. So I don't know the translation of coaching to bullpen and what's going on where they lack confidence, but they lack confidence. They lacked confidence last year. The only ones that didn't were Whitaker and Oxford. Everybody, and Holtz had a nice game in Omaha and some other nice games, but they just lack confidence coming out of the bullpen. I don't know what the problem is there. I don't know if it's like the way how much they throw in between, the communication in between, the pitch calling. I don't know what the problem is with the bullpen, but I don't think that like they just have horrible arms. I just don't think they've learned how to maybe use some of them correctly. I shouldn't say learn as if they're on the job learning. They haven't utilized the arms very well the last 2 years, and also they don't have a lot of great arms, but they got to go get some. Because when you look at Omaha, like Coastal Carolina has an unbelievable pitching staff. Like their numbers aren't great. Like their star hitter is their leadoff hitter catcher. He's hitting .330 with 5 homers. But they're in the College World Series. They gave up 2 runs to Auburn in an elimination game.
UCLA's got a really good
UCLA has a really good staff. Arkansas has pitchers for days. Now that's Arkansas. It's a little different, salary cap. But yeah, man, bullpen has to be fixed. It just has to be. You have to because here's the thing, Aslan. What other college baseball team in the country out of the 300 had a 3-man rotation as strong as Florida State's? Not many, right?
Can't imagine more than like 10, 15,
So, but what did that get them? No. One of their starters pitched really well on a Friday in a super regional. By the way, shout out Joey Vellini. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Great performance. What did it get you? Your bullpen blew the game. Then your game 3 starter, who you think is really good, just completely wets the bed, season over. If you had better it's not as important to have a great bullpen as compared to a great starting staff, but it's pretty darn close in college baseball now. Like you need to have 3 or 4 really quality arms that you can depend on, and I think Link will have learned that from this. That
sorry to interrupt you, but they lost Evan Crest, right? They lost Cam Leiter last year.
That's a good point, man. That's
lost
a really
Evan
good
Cross
point.
this year, so they did get some pieces that they just could never totally use.
Yeah.
So.
Evan Crest is a great point. I think Evan Crest would have been a guy that, instead of Peyton Manka coming in with the set, like, look, man, if you don't give up the 6-run third, you win the game.
That wasn't really Manka's fault. I mean, Manka pitched pretty good. Joe Charles,
he was all right. I don't.
For that situation, true freshman, I'm sure he didn't. He knew he was going to be pitching on Sunday, but he didn't think it was going to be in that kind of situation.
I don't think he thought he was going to be pitching on Sunday. Certainly not in the first inning. I think he came in the first inning. But I hated that move by Lincoln Posey there to pull a kid in a 3-2 count. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Right.
And then Charles comes in and just walks the kid because it's a 3-2 count, and then gives up a bomb on the first pitch, and then he's done. So he's not going to remember Corvallis fondly. Yeah. But if you have a better bullpen arm right there that can keep it at 7, well, you have a real chance.
Or just imagine they had Evan Crest.
That's what I'm saying.
Who knows if they use him on Friday? Who knows if they would use him on Friday or Saturday? Maybe they use him on Friday, you get that win. If they don't use him on Friday, if Mendez is, after he lets up the first home run, like, okay, we can go to Evan Crest and try to stop the bleeding.
Well, look, here's the thing. If they have Evan Crest, there's a chance that Mendez never gets to right the ship in May.
Fair.
Crest is your third pitcher on the weekend.
Yeah.
And Mendez is your guy in the bullpen. Like, all that could have changed with Evan Crest, and hopefully he'll be back next year. You never know with college pitchers and their arms, clearly. It's a guy on the Florida State staff that hasn't pitched in 15 months. So you never know with all that. But, yeah, but all teams go through pitching injuries. It's just the way of the world now. You really, really hope Prescott's okay. Yeah. But, yeah, you've got to go get bullpen help. You've got to develop your bullpen. And you've got to go get bullpen help. And you've got to somehow find a way to instill confidence in those guys. I just thought Prescott was – I was so excited about that because he – especially after the day before and how it all unraveled, for him to come in that spot with only I think it was a 2-1 lead at the time. Maybe it was 3-1 by the time he got the ball. And just completely shove and throw in 100.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's something to build on if he's healthy. But it's a big if at this point. But, yeah, they're going to be in the portal. They're going to go get some guys. I think you build around your first baseman because I think he is a super-duper star. I think he will be one of the best hitters in the country. And if he's draft eligible next year, which I believe he is, he will be one of the very, very first college bats taken off the board. He is exceptional. And it's not just that he hits the ball 480 feet. Elijah Cabell did that. It's the approach, man. It's the eye. It's swinging at good pitches. It's driving the ball. It's driving the ball to off fields, hitting the ball hard almost every time you hit it. Even when you don't barrel it up completely, you hit it off the wall. I mean, this is just a superstar. That he and Carnes are a great 1-2 to build around. And if you sprinkle in Harrelson, Chase Williams, Cal Fisher, that's a nice quintet of dudes. Delameliers, I think. I mean, if he plays every day, he's going to hit you 12 to 15 home runs. That's a nice offense.
And that that Eli Putnam kid, they apparently are getting from Bucknell or something.
Davidson.
I
think it's Davidson.
Yeah, I think you're right. And that he was an all-conference guy, so you feel like Link will be able to work him, and maybe his floor hopefully is like what Lodis was at the plate last year, and his ceiling might be what Lodis was this year. Not in year one, but correct. I don't know if he's going to be Lodis, but his numbers are really, really impressive. And he also played first base, second base, and shortstop. So that's he's versatile. So I don't know if he's going to play. He'll probably play second base at Florida State, but that's a big bat to replace Faroux. But I did want to say this: I know Florida State fans are disappointed. I legitimately think North Carolina could have won the national championship. I did not think about this Florida State team, just because I thought North Carolina had a better bullpen. Yeah. They played really good defense. They had a bunch of really good senior hitters, including a first-round pick at catcher. Their leadoff hitter was that pesky little guy that always got on base and stole 40 bases. They must be sick because I just can't stress how much they blew that game. It blew that series. That is a I don't even want to say Florida State choked. Did they choke on Friday? No.
Did the team choke? or did Oregon State just put some hits together? The only thing you could say in that ninth inning that you really take umbrage with is the walk. You can't walk that kid. But they earn those runs. It's not like you booted a ball or threw two. Like, that 17 World Series where they make 3 errors on one play against LSU. This was not that. This was just a good team putting the ball in play and going and winning the game. North Carolina, did you watch any of that game?
No, I did not.
So they have a 3-1 lead. Their freshman pitcher, who's going to be a phenom, by the way, his last name's Lynch. I think it's Ryan Lynch. He was into the 8th inning with a 3-1 lead at 90 pitches. He gives up a leadoff single. The next kid comes up, hits a tailor-made ground ball to second for a double play. Keep in mind, they're up 3-1. North Carolina is 3-1, nobody out. 2-hopper right to the second baseman, right by the bag. He just needs to field it, flip to shortstop. It is an easy double play. He boots it. So instead of 2 outs, nobody on, there's 2 on and nobody out. And then, of course, Arizona ends up scoring 3 runs that inning and winning the game. And that was a senior second baseman who's been really good. He's the number 2 hitter, Vanderbrake, who hit a 3-run homer in that game. But that's the margins, man.
Yeah.
That's the margins when you're a really good baseball team. Those are the margins. LSU was in the College World Series. They were I think a bad strike call against, who did they barely beat in the regional? Pine Bluff or somebody? Little Rock?
Little Rock, yeah.
Whatever that team was. Like, they were a bad strike call in that game from maybe being in a tie game in the 8th inning of a winner-take-all against Little Rock. They're really good, but that's the margin. The only team that's actually in Omaha that I don't think had to really sweat at all is Arkansas. Yeah. They're loaded. This is a choke job if they don't win the national championship. That team is built for it. That is a great, great baseball team. Everybody else, man, it's like not only is it the luck within the game, how about Duke getting Murray State? North Carolina getting Arizona? Florida State looking like it's going to get to host the Super Regional because Oregon State loses its first game, and then Oregon State outscoring its opponents 50-6. And then you look at just look around the country, man. Who was the 15 seed? Like who was Texas supposed to play?
Oh yeah, UCLA.
Yeah, so UCLA, instead of having to go to Austin, gets to play an overmatched UTSA team at their park and destroys them. LSU gets to play West Virginia. Like, it's not just the luck inside the game, it's the luck of what happens in your bracket. And that's why it seemed like Florida State was getting some luck. If they'd have gotten Omaha, they would have been the only, like it would have, it's Coastal Carolina, them, Arizona,
Louisville.
And Louisville.
Yeah.
And how about Louisville? Like, Louisville earned it in the sense that they went and beat Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt one game. But then they get a home super regional against Miami, who wasn't very good. They barely won that. Like, it's just college baseball is fickle, man. Like, I think, is it 6 of the top 9? 6 of the top 9 national seeds are done. Only 3 of the top 9 national seeds made it to Omaha. And that's Arkansas, LSU, and Oregon State, who barely made it. So that's why you want to take advantage when you get your chances. You want to have a good regular season so you can host a super regional, but even then, it's no guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, last thing for me, I wonder what this team needs to look like to win a national championship. Like, does it have to look like the 24 team, that lineup, but with a little better bullpen? But it feels like what we saw this year, Corey, was they were not nearly as proficient offensively, but they were close. And the starting arms, maybe a little bit more durability there, but the bullpen was still a bit of a bugaboo. So I don't know if they have to be this overwhelming juggernaut like Tennessee was last year, or kind of Arkansas looks a little bit like. They are so close, and with Link at the helm, it just feels like they're going to always be hanging around this thing again. And you can say, well, that's what Florida State's always been. They've always hung around. They've never been able to win it. His whole job is to get to Omaha and win. Like, I totally understand that. But it just feels like he's going to get them back into that 90s kind of run where Omaha was almost like I mean, it's always been the standard, but they always made it there. I know they didn't make it there this past season, but it just feels like he's going to constantly be building these cores year to year. That's going to give them a chance every single year, as long as they can be competitive in the portal, which I think they will be.
Yeah, I think give them a chance is the right way to put it, because it is not going to be the 90s. It's never been harder to get to Omaha. Again, like I just said, only 3 of the top 9 national seeds made it. And you look at like Louisville's in Omaha this year, they didn't even make the tournament last year. Neither did UCLA.
Yeah.
And both of them are in Omaha. I didn't realize Oregon State hadn't been there since 18, which is the last time they won it. They've won it. They've only won the national championship 3 times, guys. They're like 3 out of 7. I think Coastal Carolina is 1 for 1. So Coastal Carolina got there, and they've been a good program. Not just their national championship at 16, but they're always pretty good. They've been there once in 9 years. You know that was the first. Did you know that Auburn, that was the first time they've ever hosted a super regional in their program's history?
No, I didn't know.
Was this year. Auburn.
Huh.
Like it's hard to be good, like consistently good at college baseball, and it's really hard to get to Omaha now. So what you've got to do is just be the team that keeps giving yourself a chance. There are going to be many more disappointments than glee. It's just the nature of the sport. It just is. Like Texas, yeah, man, they've got some national championships on their wall out there. That doesn't help any of their kids this year. You know what I mean? Like they don't feel any better about things because their team had won a national championship with Roger Clemens. Like they choked. They didn't get out of their regional. Same with Vanderbilt. Yeah, they've got a couple national championships. Those kids don't. It's really, really hard to get to Omaha, so you want to take advantage when you get your opportunities. But like you said, and I do believe you, I do agree, Link is going to give you opportunities. I think he is going to put together rosters, and they're going to be coached in a way that they're always going to be good. Sometimes great, always good. And frankly, you don't have to be great to get to Omaha. You have to be great in June. Miami was, like you said, probably a couple of pitches away from getting to Omaha, and they were horrid for stretches of this season. Louisville lost 7 of their last 8 games going into the postseason. They're in Omaha. Like it's just a matter about getting hot at the right time, giving yourself a chance. So you get in the dance. Typically, you want to be at home, obviously, because you got a better chance to win at home. And just give yourself a chance. And I don't foresee a scenario where Link Jarrett doesn't have a team that's consistently in the postseason. And if you're consistently in the postseason, you give yourself a chance. I don't even know the last time Arkansas was in. Did they go in 23?
I don't think so. I think it's been 3 years, perhaps, since they made in there. Yeah, Dave Van Horn's possibly developing a complex if he can't get it done this year.
Well, if he doesn't get it done this year, that's tough. By the way, LSU's only been there 20 times, guys. Now, they are 6 of 20. Florida State, as we all know, is 0 of 24. But they are 6 of 20. Arkansas is 0 of 11. This is their 12th time making it to Omaha. But my point was back in the 90s when it was just the regional format, before the super regionals came around, Florida State was in it every year, every other year. It was easier to get there. When you had better pitching like Florida State always did, you could outlast other teams, and you typically got to Omaha. This isn't that. I do think and hope that Link decides that starting pitching is awesome. It's great. But, man, it's nice to have 3 or 4 power arms coming out of that pen. It is really nice to have a dependable closer. Really nice. Try that on, Link, and see if it works. Try getting yourself a lights-out closer and see if it works. And here's the thing, Aslan. North Carolina had a really good reliever. That freshman kid with the glasses, he was awesome all season.
Or Clemson had a bunch of good relievers, too, apparently.
Yeah, but that kid from North Carolina was great all season.
Yeah.
In Game 2, with them with the lead, with a chance to go to Omaha, he comes in and has to get, I don't know, I think he comes on in the 8th inning, gives up 4 runs and gets 1 out. He'd been great all year. So sometimes even that happens. That's why baseball can suck. That's the right move. You bring him in that spot. He's been lights out all year. He's really tough against righties, and he can't throw strikes. How do you coach that? So I don't blame the Forbes at North Carolina for that. That's just kind of bad luck. And the kid will get better. He was a freshman. But I think that's the best recipe to have a real chance in Omaha. Is yes, you want a Jamie Arnold. That's great. That's awesome. Wes Mendez was great in the regional. He got you to the super regionals. I do not want to make this all about Wes Mendez. In fact, I haven't. He's one of the reasons you were in Corvallis to begin with. But man, it would have been nice in that Friday game or in that Sunday game once it got away from Mendez to have a dependable arm that you could count on, like even a Connor Whitaker type, maybe a little more overpowering than that, but a Connor Whitaker type. And I hope that that's where they go and realize they have to completely, maybe even just change their outlook on the bullpen. Like, I don't know, man. Just figure out a way to get I don't care if I don't want your 3 best arms to be your 3 starters. Have 2 good starters. I don't care what slop you run out there for your game 3 starter. I want the next 3 best. I want your 2 best arms to be your starters. The next 4 best arms on your pitching staff need to be relievers.
Like Connor Whitaker-esque.
Yeah, right. Connor Whitaker is much more valuable coming out of the pen than he is giving you 4 1/3 to start a game. Yeah. You need to get because man, the 25th, 26th, 27th outs, it takes a special someone, man, to get those on the road or in Omaha in a championship series. And I'll say this one last thing, Aslan. I know it was painful to watch what happened in Corvallis on Friday and on Sunday too, but especially on Friday when it was melting down. Imagine if that had been game 1 of the championship series in Omaha. Yeah. People would give up on the team, give up on the program. They're never going to win it. Never going to win it. So they'll be there. They're going to get back there, and they're going to win a national championship. They are. It's just the law of averages. They're not going to not do it. It would just be nice if it happened in our lifetimes.
You either want to be in Omaha to watch it happen, or you want to be in Tallahassee at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill when it finally does happen. Will they lose the first game in the regionals, go through the losers bracket and make it out, lose game 1 of the super regionals, but make it out? I think that's the way it's going to have to be. They're going to have to lose at every sort of level. And they didn't do that. They breezed right through the regionals. They made it too easy. The gods want them to suffer a little bit more. Yeah. We'll be at Omaha one of these years, and we're going to win the whole thing. But in the meantime, we will enjoy our days in Tallahassee at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. CPTallybar.com, the website. Daily lunch specials from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. for only $8.99. Comes a side dish of your choice. Build your own burger today. I mean, they'll cook it and everything, but you can pick all the fixins. So do that. Don't forget trivia going down tomorrow night, 7 p.m. And then bingo night, Thursdays, 7 p.m. 4 rounds, $250 cash money up for grabs in each single round. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, CPTallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. We're back. We're doing a show. It's 2 a.m. This Wake Up Warchant presented by Vitamin Energy, vitaminenergy.com, shake it and take it. House settlement happened, Corey.
Yeah.
It's a thing. It's official. I thought $20 million was going to be the amount of money each school was going to max out at this year. It's going to go up. As long as the TV money goes up, there's the expectation that every single year that revenue base that they're sharing from the TV and ticket sales and other things is going to be around $20 million. But what I thought I saw somewhere between 16 and 18 in revenue sharing money. Now, listen, all these NIL contracts. I don't want to mention names, but just whoever came in January at Florida State or Miami or wherever else, they signed contracts that were front-loaded to kind of avoid them having to worry about the post-house world. So that won't affect the rosters really that much this year. Everybody was kind of ready to build their roster over these rules being introduced. But we did get the name. I should have had it pulled up, but I don't have it any longer. But a former MLB executive was, I think, a district attorney, Harvard law grad. He is going to be our new white knight. That's going to be looking over all these NIL deals. He's going to create a task force. They're going to try to police everything. So how settlement's going to happen. We're expecting $16, $18 million to be going to all the athletic programs, probably something at Florida State. I would think it's going to be somewhere like, I don't know, 75 football, maybe 10% basketball, 5% baseball, and everybody else. But that's just my gander stabbing guess at it. What are you most excited, most still puzzled about, most optimistic about the way college athletics can possibly look now that we have an enforcement arm and now some sort of salary cap, it seems?
Well, there needs to be an enforcement arm because there's going to be cheating. We all understand this. But I can't tell you how ridiculous it was. This was pre-NIL. All these coaches off the record would tell you that everybody's cheating. And I'm not just talking about Florida State coaches. Everybody would say that all around. But they never would turn anybody in. Right. Because either they were doing it too, or why else would they not? I don't know. They wanted to irk the conference commissioner. There has to be a way to police and really enforce the payment and make it as fair and as equitable as possible. And if it's just going to be toothless, then none of this matters. If you can still pay $1.5 million to Carson Beck or $4 million to Carson Beck, and he just doesn't report it, and there's nobody there to go looking for it, nobody there to turn him in, nobody there to look at it when he is turned in, then what is the point of all this? But if there is that, then that's what I'm excited about, that there could be some there just could be some parameters and regulations on this thing and keep it kind of sane. That would be wonderful. That'd be wonderful if it was just sane. We'll see. And what I love is as soon as it was passed, Aslan, there were like 5 or 6 or 8 different stories talking about, quoting people saying, well, now it's going to be harder than ever. This is going to make it more Wild West. And I was like, y'all don't know anything. And I'm not saying they're wrong. I'm saying anybody that speaks with authority about what this thing is going to look like in practice has no idea what they're talking about. No way anybody that knew anything in 2021 or 2020 when the NIL was being discussed had any idea, could have ever fathomed that in 2025 a pitcher for Texas Tech would be a softball pitcher, would be making $1.2 million. Nobody could have foreseen something like that. That was exponentially down the road. Nobody could have ever foreseen something like that. So don't act like anybody that acts like they know exactly how this is going to play out, what it's going to look like, how much more cheating there's going to be, who's going to be the winners and losers. They don't know. Nobody knows. So it's hard to even have an opinion on it. I want to see it in practice to see what it looks like. But could it be worse than what it's been the last 2 years? No.
Can't imagine.
So the next step is to limit transfers to one time. That's a wrap.
Well, one window per year. I don't think.
No, and I also mean one transfer per player.
I don't know if they'll be able to do that. I'm with you. I just don't know that. Listen, all this is going to be argued about in courts. It feels like that's one that feels.
Good. Take them to court. Yeah. Take them to court. Great. In the meantime, go sue. Go take it to court. It'll be in court for a year and a half. Meanwhile, you don't get to play. So if you want to sue for the right to go transfer to Ole Miss, that's awesome. You won't be eligible in the meantime, and your clock is ticking. But by all means, go sit in a courtroom for a year and a half, because Lord knows nothing is expedited in our legal system, certainly not those types of cases. The Ed O'Bannon case took a decade. So go sue. Do it. Make it happen. Make it happen. Let's see how long you're sitting and waiting for a ruling, or just transfer the one time. But I see what you're saying. There's going to be – and that's another thing. Everybody's like, oh, this is going to be lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. Great. Go for it. What is the option? To sit here and do nothing and just watch this sport eat itself? I shouldn't say sport. These sports eat themselves? It's preposterous. So hopefully it's a lot of bluster about all the lawsuits that are coming. Great, man. At least right now there seems to be a blueprint with some guidelines that will hone all this in, make it illegal to just pay Carson Beck $4 million to throw passes for you. He has to at least be worth $4 million in real endorsement deals, which in Miami, Florida, are you kidding me? Unless people mistake him for Tyler Hero, he's not going to be selling anything for $4 million. He's not worth $4 million. What's he selling? That kid. I guess he could say he dates one of the Cavender twins. Or no, they broke up, didn't they?
Allegedly. I haven't looked in too deep.
Yeah, we haven't been following their relationship as closely as we normally do.
She blocked me on her Instagram.
Oh yeah, I figured. So yeah, as long as they can put an end to that a little bit, in paying high school senior offensive tackles $2 million, you could do that if you want, but you only got $17 million for the rest of your athletes on campus. So good luck. Maybe this can be back in become somewhat normal and sane again.
Brian Seeley, he is the CEO of the College Sports Commission. He was executive vice president of Major League Baseball's legal and operations. He does have investigative experience. He's going to be making 7 figures. He
good.
Possibly could be one of the most powerful men in this industry right now. Over his decade plus at Major League Baseball, earned a reputation as a strong, competent manager whose department, which had let go 3 employees following allegations of unethical behavior, consistently delivered solid work. So he has a background in doing this kind of stuff.
Well, great. And hopefully everybody's on the up and up, and we can all just be good sportsmen about everything. Hey, speaking of that, I know everybody doesn't like a team when you lose to them. I am a big fan of that Oregon State team. I thought they won with class. I thought I liked their coach.
Bunting up by 10 in the 8th inning or whatever they did.
I liked that Jackson West called him out on that. That was awesome.
That was.
I know Jackson West doesn't have a ton of fans. He didn't have a great year. I want people to remember that scene of him barking. But I don't think the coach didn't tell him to do that. That's a kid that's batting in the 9 hole that hasn't played a lot, that doesn't know any better. Jackson West made him know better. Also, they only won by 4. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I've seen teams blow leads. Like, remember those games against Clemson last year where they had 9-run leads in the last inning and lost? So, but I get it. I like that Jackson West did that. I also love Jackson West taking that bases-loaded walk on Saturday night. That's a huge at-bat. That's a great at-bat that I don't know that anybody else on the team has. They're all such free swingers. That's a great at-bat. And then when – I can't remember who got the hit. Gage Harrelson got the hit to score a run, maybe the 3rd run or the 2nd run, whatever it was. And Jackson West gets to 3rd, and it's pounding the base because he's so excited and happy. I'm not saying Jackson West is the key to everything, but you do need dudes like that on your team. There are guys that can be heartbeats of your team. You'd like him to hit a little better than 230 or whatever Jackson West hit this year, but I like a lot of what that kid does. Carnes is too good not to play next year. Just is. I don't know what you do with Jackson West. You certainly need to play Carnes more than him, though. But
are you rooting for Oregon State and Omaha?
Yeah, that was my Jackson West appreciation. But yeah, because I really like their coach. He seems like a good person. And when you look at, man, we were tweeting about, or texting, you and I were texting about that Arkansas-Tennessee series. There's just, it's not like baseball is golf. I know you don't have to be a gentleman. And certainly Florida State has had its fair share in the last 2 years of guys that don't act like gentlemen. But it gets so over the top. It's just hard to watch sometimes. And after Arkansas beat Tennessee, the pitcher, and they won 11-4, and the pitcher just gave up a 2-run bomb, by the way, but he strikes out the next kid in the game. He looks at the Tennessee dugout, says, "Go the F home,"
Zach
but he says the whole word.
Yeah.
And then I think he calls the entire team the P word, is what it looks like to me.
Well, Wake Forest, didn't Wake Forest's head coach call something like
he used the gay slur.
Oh, yeah.
About one of the Tennessee guys. Obviously, Tennessee is Tennessee. They're just maniacs. Oregon State, I don't remember any of that. When they hit a home run, they celebrated with each other. They didn't taunt the other team. When they got a big out, when the pitchers got a big out, they were fired up. They didn't tell anybody to go back to the effing dugout. I just liked the way they played. And more importantly than that, because that's not that big a deal, as I said last week, that fan base has been kicked in the groin. They don't have a conference. They do not have a conference. They were left to dry. They were left to die. That entire athletic department was left to die because of the greed of people who run these athletic conferences. Oregon State is one of the best baseball programs in the country. They've had good sport. They've been good at other sports too. Gary Payton played basketball there. That school means a lot to a lot of people, and they were just kicked to the curb. Nobody cares an effing ounce about Oregon State or Washington State. Just left to die on the vine. Who cares? We don't care. UCLA's going, USC's going, Oregon's going, Washington's going. We'll leave you behind. We don't care about you. Good luck. Good luck playing Utah State for the rest of your existence. So for that fan base that's been kicked in the teeth, it doesn't have any real conference to be in, and we're left to feel less than. To be in Omaha with a chance to win a 4th national title, I'm all about that, man. I wanted Florida State to win, I promise. I really wanted that to happen. I hope you could tell by the start of the show.
You sound like Devin Travis, like you're sold yourself out to prop up Oregon State.
Yeah, I like that, man. Like people giving Devin grief. Yeah. Devin, it's just he only played baseball there for 3 years. Oh yeah, and his brother was the effing starting quarterback. Yeah, no Florida State in that blood. You flipping weirdos. But no, man, like Oregon State, you gotta be unbiased, man. But if you're in Devin's shoes, I'm talking about. But if you look at it from an unbiased point of view, Oregon State, I am rooting for them. I hope they win the whole thing. Maybe Coastal Carolina too, but those are my 2 schools that I'm rooting for. I like the way they played. That stadium is cool. That's a really good fan base. They deserve good things, and I hope they go and win it in Omaha. Because why wouldn't they have a 4th?
Yeah.
They've been there. I mean, Aslan, This is their 8th time there. They need a 4th national championship. Well, otherwise, what are they doing out there? They're just wasting their time.
Saying this out loud is going to make it happen. I just don't want Arkansas to win, man. There's just something about
they'll win. Because you want him to be the modern-day Mike Martin.
Well, not that. I don't want Arkansas to win a national title before we do. Like, Oregon State's fine. They've won one. LSU can go ahead and win their 13th or whatever the hell it would be.
I think that would be their 7th.
Coastal, sure, cool. I like UCLA. I like John Savage, good dude. There's like a lot of likable guys. Programs already have a national title. Like when Mississippi State won one before we did. That hurt so bad. Yeah. And then Ole Miss won one. I'm like, this is torture. And then Tennessee, it's just, I can't have all these first time until we need to be the next first time program to win the
At this point, it's noteworthy though. At least, like you just ripped off a lot of teams that have won national championships. Big deal. How many have been out there 24 times and not won one?
Oh man,
that's more interesting, right?
That's
more interesting.
Was Nigeri Kennedy worth it?
Yeah, I think so. Right? Like they got to within one win of the national championship. Has anybody ever cared about Texas Tech softball before? No. And I think again, going back to last week, it's the return on joy. And I think whoever cares enough to pay that kind of money to one softball pitcher, must have enjoyed the heck out of that season, and they have money to burn. So might as well, it gives you 3 months of joy. There's a lot of people that have spent $1.2 million, and it did not give them 3 months of joy. At least they got they're going to get more than that because she's going to be there for next year too. But I will say this, pretty excited that Texas won. I was rooting for Texas. They had never won a softball national championship, Aslan.
Yeah.
Didn't know if you knew that. So that was their first. And look, if Texas can win their first softball national championship, no reason in 2026 Florida State can't win its first baseball national championship. What they need to do, Aslan, I don't know what they have in the hopper for portal kids. They already got the one kid from Davidson, although he is draft eligible. They got the one kid from Davidson to put up big numbers, Eli Putnam. Man, it would be nice to make a couple of really big announcements on later today to like load up this team again.
Yeah,
that would make the pain go away a little bit. It is kind of cool, right? Like in the sense that like UCLA wasn't in the tournament they didn't even make the postseason tournament last year. Now they're in Omaha. Same for Louisville.
Yeah.
Like you can upend your roster and make it great and really quickly. And Florida State is Florida State, and you do have some pieces coming back. It is cool to know that next year, the offseason is so much more fun than it's ever been when it comes to college baseball.
Oh
and
yeah,
Link might be on it, and they might have some guys in the hopper, and they're gonna be better than they were this year. They were not better this year than they were last year. That check swing against Tennessee is an all-timer. And I think last year's team wins in Corvallis just because they wouldn't have scored 4 runs in that first game. They would have scored 9 because that offense was insane. But who knows? Also, it would have been nice if Cam Leiter ever pitched.
Also, advice that no one asked for. This is why I try to be a nice guy, Corey, and then it just bites me in the butt. And then it's like, this is why I shouldn't be a nice guy.
Oh, okay.
So,
I can't wait for this.
Shout out to the people in Corvallis. I thought they did a pretty good job of turning around the press conferences after each game. And I asked them before it started, I'm like, hey, will there be a Zoom option? Will you be uploading the post-game press conferences so that we can use them on our website? Please let me know. And they said, hey, we won't be doing Zoom, but this is the link. Check it after the games. We're going to upload it. And they did a really good job Friday. Did a really good job Saturday. I'm like, you know what, man? Why don't you email that guy back and be like, hey, you and your team have done a great job. Really appreciate what you've done so far. Just want to let you know I appreciate it. I did that. I'm like, all right, appreciate your work. The game's been over how long have we been talking, Corey? Add 20.
I feel like 4 hours. Yeah, my fault.
Add 20 minutes to that. That's how long this game has been over, and the press conference is still not up. So I mean, they were like, oh yeah, they were like,
maybe it's still going on. I don't know. Maybe Link took an hour and a half to get there. There's a chance now. There is a chance. So, and look,
Still not the latest show we've ever done, by the way. Either LSU in New Orleans or LSU in Orlando. One of those games.
I think LSU in Orlando was probably the latest we've ever done. And you wanted to do it live.
To this one, if they would have won, I would have wanted to. Yeah, because
you know what? They didn't. They didn't. So it's now officially football season. We got top 40 coming up. But again, wanted to shout out all these spring sports. I know they don't win a national championship. Not everything is about national championships. That baseball team needs to win one at some point. But softball had a really good season. Baseball had a really good season. Neither one of them made it to Oklahoma City or Omaha, but they had very, very good seasons.
Golf,
both men's and women's golf teams were very good.
How Danzy do at nationals?
They haven't started yet. It starts later this week. So we still got Makai Danzy watch. For the track team. But I was thinking about this because I was told about so many of these Florida State fans that were so upset after Friday that were basically like, I'm giving up Florida State baseball. I'm not, you guys are idiots for caring about this team so much. I'm never caring again. And it's like, good, man. Go be a Murray State fan. You know what? Go be a Coastal Carolina fan. Like, take all your allegiances to Coastal Carolina and tell me if you have a better life or not. Because as much as it hurts when your team loses, like Florida State just lost, this team wins so much more than it loses. And I know this sounds insane to hear, but when you get to Omaha 24 times, that is a lot of great postseason moments. It's Will Zerzow, it's Buster Posey, it's James Ramsey, it's all these things that happen along the way that make it so much fun. And, yeah, it would be awesome to be a South Carolina baseball fan and have those 2 national championships, or to be a Georgia baseball fan and have that 1 national championship way back in 1990. And you know how many times they've been in the College World Series since? Once. Like, think about that, man. Like, Florida State is always good, and they give you so much more joy than they give you heartache. And I say this as a Braves fan. A Braves fan, by the way, they might be the worst team in the major leagues, Aslan. This is insanity. But I've dealt with so much postseason heartache in my life being an Atlanta Braves fan. It's very similar to the Florida State, except I do have the 2 World Series. But I can promise you this. In like 2021, I was convinced I would never see another World Series. Ever. It didn't make me appreciate the journey less during the season because it's still fun to watch a good team win more than it loses. But those things are heartbreaking, and I never thought I would see them win another one until they did. And that was really, really fun. And there will be a team, I'm going to say this, Jock Peterson, who was on that Braves team. You're going to have to bleep this, Aslan. I'm sorry. No, I'll bleep myself. Before the World Series, he wrote a story for the Players' Journal talking about the Braves' history in the postseason and how nobody believed in them and everybody assumed they'd lose. And he goes, you know what? Everybody says that we can't do this or we can't do that or the Braves always lose. But there will be a team in Atlanta that wins another World Series. And we might just be those motherfuckers. And they were. There will be a team for Florida State at some point in our lives that will be those motherfuckers that can finally get the thing done in Omaha. I promise. Until then, enjoy all the wins that Link Jarrett is going to give you over the years and hope they get hot at the right time. And when they do, go out to Omaha and dogpile. And I'm done. Sorry I made you bleep that, Aslan.
2 more shows this week? Question mark?
Yeah, I'm going to be in. Yeah, we should be able to do 2. I'll be in Hoover. Brittany's got a baseball tournament in Hoover, Alabama.
So we're back.
Get to do that. Don't have to be in Omaha. So, sorry. I just said all that rally. I had my rally cry that I had to take another shot at the program. Good grief. But, yeah, we can do 2 shows this week, buddy.
Thanks for listening. Jeff Cameron Show coming up 1 to 4 o'clock. Seminole Headlines on Tuesday as well. And always, warchant.com's got you covered. Don't forget, students, email us from your fsu.edu email address. Email support@warchant.com from that fsu.edu email address. You'll get a free year of warchant.com premium access. Gotta love it. He's Corey Maslow. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, presented by Vitamin Energy.